Pioneers in innovation, unique in every action. Welcome back to another exciting episode on the Game Changers. Today's guest is an special individual who revolutionized a special sector in the business world in Sri Lanka. Introducing to you Abishek Sithampalam, Managing Director, Co-founder of FindMyFair.com. Welcome to the show, Abhishek.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
How is business these days?
Good, good, growing and pretty exciting times that we are at the moment in the country, and being involved in e-commerce is pretty exciting.
E-commerce is something which I'm fond of. Let's talk about it towards the latter part of the program. So let me start off this way. How was your school life and your childhood?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Colombo and went to school in St. Peter's, and so then I moved to a boarding school in India, and then I came back again in Sri Lanka. So I had a pretty a lot of schools that I've changed in during my school days, and then school did have a bit of an impact, a lot of impact actually, how it shaped me to what I am today, and especially played a lot of sports in school. So that sort of encouraged me to. I was always involved with a lot of teams and a lot of team building. So I was pretty interested hanging out with a lot, doing things together. So I played a lot of school cricket, and I always relate cricket to even what I do today. So
right.
Yeah.
So like you said, to what extent that you involve in clubs and societies, and also when you take cricket, it's a team game. How you apply it in your day-to-day life today? Because a lot of parents don't let their kids to get into sports, and they're like a lot of restricted. So how do you apply?
See, just in a sporting environment, especially in a cricket in a game like cricket, it's team game, right? It's a team. You're nothing without a team. So it teaches you at a very young age to be dependent on each other and work together and go as a team. So if not for sports, especially discipline, you need to get up early morning. You got to do your fitness training. Otherwise, you won't be fit enough to play sports. So that gives you that discipline that you could pass on to anything that you do later in the life. So I think sports is very important when you're schooling. And I was not a bad student, as in studies. I was pretty okay in studies as well. So, but I was pretty much interested in extracurricular activity because that gave me the opportunity to express myself and be who I am really. Then in a classroom environment, you're pretty restricted. So it gives you that extra opportunity to show who you are in terms of other things. Yeah,
exactly,
that's a lot of other facets.
So when you talk about classrooms, what was your childhood ambition? Many of us, once the teacher asks you whom do you want to be in the future, I want to be a doctor or an engineer, but you sitting here on the Game Changers as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, being born in Sri Lanka and especially at that time during 1990s and all that. So one incident changed my life forever. I still remember Sri Lanka winning the World Cup. So I remember that we could do something as great as that. Till then we were just we were not anything around the globe, not noticeable. But then after we won the World Cup, I think as a nation we started believing that there is a potential for us to be in the global stage. So I think that's one defining moment, and I decided I took sports in a really serious way, and I thought my ambition was to become a cricketer when I was really young. That was my ambition. But then things changed. Yes, yeah.
Let's talk about it a bit more. Where did you stop?
Basically, when I was playing school cricket, I think I was injured, seriously injured, and I think that was my turning point, that I couldn't get back to playing.
But you achieved it in.
Yeah, but I seriously do miss those, because it was a very serious injury, and my mother was like, you're not playing again ever. So that was the turning point, and.
All right, so. When you start talking about your school career, you were a sports person, and when you talk about business, like when you come into the business world, like how did you identify the gap to pitch this online ticketing platform, findmyfare.com?
And to be very honest, I was sent to UK to study, to do my higher studies. And when we were there during that 2006 to 2009, that's when all the Facebooks and all those things started picking up. So we saw in front of our eyes what was happening there. So we thought that this, when we should do this back home, because that was the time that everything started coming into play. Like Facebook was there, and then you heard about e-commerce is picking up after them going through a pretty bad patch during 2000 to 2002 3. And so we really thought, like when I was there with my friends, I really thought this could be back home we don't have it.
Before we come to that, let's talk about your university a bit.
Yeah.
What background do you come from?
Yeah, I studied economics in university, in University of Manchester. So I chose economics because it's pretty not specific to any, it covers everything. So I was pretty good in economics as well when in school. So I studied economics, but I was not, even there I was not that much into classroom learning. I tried, the best I could get in terms of exposure, being there, attend a lot of other, events related to business and, what I could do when I come back home, because I really didn't see myself living there. When I went, I think my parents forced me into going there. So I was not interested in leaving the country, and because my childhood was not here in Sri Lanka, so I wanted to have as much time I could.
Like getting the international exposure, the studies, how much it affected to be.
See, to be very honest, I don't think that defines you as who you are today as a person. You could go to any school. You can not go to school and still achieve great things, and there are great examples in the world for that and in the country as well. And one of my inspirations is my father, who I look up to as well as a businessman and all that. So what I'm saying is that it's not necessary, but if you can afford it, I think nothing wrong in doing it. If not, but that's not, I wouldn't call it something that defined who I am today. I don't.
Since we were talking about studies and education, can you today there is a mindset where people start their studies, finish it entirely, and come back to work. Then they are 25, 26 years after school. So what is your thought on this?
I think early start is always better, because that gives you that extra room to make your mistakes and learn quickly, and because if you start late, you don't have that many years to experiment. So I always think that while studying, working is a good thing. That should be promoted. You should work while you're studying, especially in your higher studies, because that gives you that exposure. And if something clicks, you can always quit your education and do it. So I always believe in having something, dedicate like half an hour of your time when you're studying, doing your higher studies, doing something that you like, might end up in being the next Facebook or WhatsApp, or you never know. So I believe in that strongly, that you should have something.
So you advise to work while studying?
Yeah, work for a company, if you get hired, if you're lucky enough, or work on something that you are passionate about, something that you could do in your room or in your
How
garage.
do you identify in your personal experience, how did you identify what you are good at? Because a lot of youth, they lack in this.
See, everybody is good at something. I wouldn't say that, it all comes down to passion, what you're passionate about. Different people are passionate about different things. So I think that I was passionate, my passion was to do something in Sri Lanka. My passion was really to create I get a lot of happiness in creating a lot of jobs. So that's my real passion, that I always enjoyed creating jobs. So I always wanted to be a person who created jobs. So that was my passion. So, but see, everybody has a different passion, right? Some people are passionate. See, making a lot of money is not a passion, right? So that's
what people who are starting business these days
that's
think.
not a passion. You can't be passionate about money, right? You have to be passionate about something other than that. So if you like what I think, as for example, if you look at what Apple does as a company, is also that they develop what they love to use. So that's why it's such a huge hit when it comes to the market. So I think as a person, if you're passionate about something, I think you should spend at least good half an hour when you're studying in school or whatever, at least a good half an hour on what you're passionate about. That could develop and become something. So don't leave something that you're passionate about, no matter what. Your parents don't allow you to do it, or your environment doesn't allow it. I think you should stick to it, and I think that might turn into something really big.
Do what you are passionate about, says Abishek, director, co-founder of findmyfair.com. Stay tuned, this is going to be even more interesting. We'll be back with a short commercial break. Welcome back. You're watching the Game Changers on our television. Today with us is Abishek Sithampalam, director, co-founder of findmyfair.com. Abhishek, Sri Lanka is a country with natural beauty and blessed with plenty of business opportunities. So you created a different aspect, like a different opportunity, or rather a different platform for people to comfortably book their tickets and to provide accommodation all around the country. So how did you find this gap? Like I raised the question, I thought that it was too early because we have a lot to talk about this.
So when I started thinking about what I can do when I get back home, because we were at the height of the recession when I graduated. So anyways, finding a job was really difficult because I wanted to work there for some time, sort of to gain experience and just the traditional way of thinking. But then I thought that's always good. But it was pretty difficult during those times, and so I had to come back, and I was pretty happy to come back, and I knew I was going to do something on my own if I'm going to come back. So, and I decided that it's going to be e-commerce because I could see the trend when I was in England that everybody was going online, movie tickets were bought online, food was ordered online, our flight tickets were bought. So I mean, people say that Sri Lanka is different to another country, but what I feel personally is that nobody is different to anybody. It's just a different nationality. But if they are using a technology, I'm sure we can use it too. So I strongly believed in that we could do a little bit of tweaks here and there and sort of get a Sri Lankan version of e-commerce. But I didn't decide on travel as such. I just decided that I'm going to do something online. That was my decision when I came back.
Oh, so that's the gap that you wanted to meet.
First the industry I chose as e-commerce because I knew there was a uptrend there. So I thought that I could ride the wave because it's much easier to ride the wave and then rather go against it. So then that's how we got into e-commerce.
Yeah, going back to the days that you started, when you opened this product to the Sri Lankan market, what are the challenges?
So when we started, I wanted to start something online. So I started doing my research, and there was something that came about. I looked at online food ordering first. I was pretty interested in that because there was a low capital requirement there, and it's no barriers to entry. You don't need any licenses to get into delivering food. So it was pretty easy. But then I looked at, then when I was doing my research in Sri Lanka, what is the other industries that e-commerce would take off initially, I read somewhere that in any country in the world, the first e-commerce business that to take off was the travel business online. Then everything else followed. That's the trend. So, but unfortunately, I was not experienced in travel, so I thought that, come on, man, I won't be able to do travel. But then when I looked at the market capital, as in overall tickets sold in the country, so there was a pretty large amount that was described. So I was thought, oh, that's a big market there. And it's just a piece of paper. You're not going to deliver anything physically. So that gave me that opportunity. I thought, oh, great, that's fantastic. That's the pros of doing travel.
Can you please explain the process? How does platform work?
It was pretty difficult when we started and going about doing the research and finding out the softwares that were available because it was the first, nobody was doing it in Sri Lanka at that time. And I think I was the crazy one to have started, I think, because it was a pretty daunting experience because we didn't know whether will people buy online. But there was one data that showed us at that time when we were doing our research that Sri Lankan Airlines had their own website at that time. It was already live, and people were buying online, a little bit. Few people were buying online. So we thought, okay, that could translate into something if we launch or online travel agency where people could compare all flights in one page and book. So I was pretty confident that there would be a market ready for it. But developing was pretty difficult, and the barriers to entry was very high in terms of licensing and all that. So it took me a lot of time. I think I started in year 2010, as in to register the company and go about, because I was very inexperienced. I had not worked anywhere before, and I had no experience in running a business. So you can imagine I did all the mistakes that you can imagine that a young boy would do. It's just, the only thing is that I was so passionate about it, so I was just going, falling, getting up, and then going back again. So it took me 2 years, I think, to set up findmyfair.com, actually, from the license to
how did you pitch this into the Sri Lankan market? Like, to think, like, today people, when they want a ticket, they know findmyfair.com is there. Sure. So how did you create this trust?
It was not an easy process. So we did all the hard work for 2 years in terms of getting the softwares and then plugging it in and getting all the necessary licenses to do the business. And then when we launched, as any businessman or any entrepreneur would expect, his business to take off from day one, right? But unfortunately, that's not what happened, because people were very scared. Like, why would you enter your card details on some unknown website?
Yeah,
it's pretty
trust
new.
Is
yes,
something
yes. And
Sri Lankans lack.
Yes. So we tried everything that we can, like, we even tried sometimes in the beginning to give free airport pickups when they come back if they buy with us, and still people were not ready to buy online. So we found out that there was a bit of an issue in terms of using their credit card online. So we approached local banks and we told them that if you could partner with us, and we could probably give a incentive to your customers to buy online, and if the bank communicates it, then the people are going to trust, because it's the bank who's communicating it. So we went about doing our first promotion with a large bank in locally. That was one of the biggest turning points. So until then, there was no bookings happening. We were just opening the door for, and there was no customers. So any entrepreneur goes through this, and that was that was the hardest time, if you ask me, in the whole process. That was one of the toughest years in my life. I think I've not faced that many obstacles after that, but that time was really difficult.
So today, how do people engage with you?
Yeah, so today we have grown into one of the largest travel companies in the country, and I think we are the only OTA in the country today, and we sell close to about 7,000 tickets monthly online, and we have, the transactions have gone to significant levels in the last 5 years. So we are one of the largest in terms of the OTA business. Yeah, we are the only one, and we still dominate the market in the travel business.
Any competition that you've got for
Yes, there are plenty of competition, but that's what makes it interesting, right? In travel, there are a lot of travel agencies do exist in the country, and we believe in coexisting with these players. I mean, we are not here to sort of turn. We found our own market segment who are interested in buying online and all that. So yes, so that's what keeps us motivated.
What is the difference between buying it in a travel agency and buying it online?
So the biggest difference is it's the purchasing habit of any customer, right? So you've been used to a certain way of buying things, that is to go to a shop, park your car, go inside, buy the product that you want, and come back because you feel confident that I saw the product before I bought it, or things like that. So, and then in terms of online, it's just convenience. If you don't have to take a car, go park, find anything. I mean, you just sit at home or on your way to work. You just bought your product and it's there in your email, and you just go to the airport and you're gone. So the biggest factor is convenience.
Convenience, like only the youth or generation X and Y, if I'm not mistaken, they only focus on this buying behavior, buying it online. So how do you reach the other market?
So our data shows that, based on what we see today, it shows that it's predominantly the younger population who's using us, but there's also the older population who are living alone with, like, the children are not here, they're alone, so they believe that technology is their best partner, right? So they can do it online, or the children who are abroad use our website to book tickets for their parents, and they send it to them just via an email. So we have connected technology has solved. It's not us. I think we partnered with, at the right time we launched it, but then it has solved a lot of problems for people. I think there was a lot of problems that was existing in the market because the convenience was an issue, because you had to go to places to buy it, and you didn't know if that was the real price. You never got a comparison between multiple airlines. So we provided all of that, so it made the purchasing decision easy. It was a natural process. So you saw all the airlines in one page, and you could compare, and it was transparent. So I think people took on it. Yeah.
In terms of branding, e-commerce, and again coming back to what I asked, like what is the main source that you all use to take your brand out there to people?
So we do still continue to partner with financial institutions to promote and encourage online purchasing, because online purchasing has to be done using a credit card. In terms of our business especially, it's only credit or debit, or so we need the banks partnerships that we continue to do. And we believed in a lot of social media, also digital marketing, for example. So we believe that because our customers are online, so we focus on a more of a digital marketing approach than more of an offline marketing. So we are 100% digital. Marketing
Since
is
we
all
have a lot
digital,
of
yes.
young blood watching this program, let's talk about digital marketing a bit. So how far we Sri Lankans were using digital marketing, like to what extent are we there already, or we are
I think we are not. I think we still are spending a lot of money on offline mediums. It's because herd mentality, someone else is doing, the competition is doing it, so we end up doing it. We are forced to do it because the competition is there, so we need to exist. But I believe that it's much cheaper online on the digital marketing space at this point in time. It will get expensive when more people get on it. So this is the best time for companies to exploit this cheaper option of reaching a customer directly, not through any medium. And the best part about digital marketing is you could track down every customer who visited your website, and whether it happened as a sale or they just came and went. So a lot of data could be analyzed, whereas on an offline medium you're just, so, but you do need to do offline because to more of a brand building exercise, so that people trust you. But then in terms of traffic to your website or any mobile app or anything, I think you should go digital, because your customer is right there online. He's already online.
So, like you said, websites are also getting outdated. What do you see the future would be?
Yeah, right now 80% of our traffic is coming from mobile devices. So that shows us a clear trend that from 3 years ago, where it was 25%, then it became 40, and now it's gone to 80%. So that clearly shows where the people are moving towards. So I believe in a lot of data analytics. So all the data shows that there's going to be a lot of mobile related activities in the country, because there are much more people with mobile devices than a PC. So you have a larger market there. So yes, we are moving towards a mobile.
FindMyFair.com.
Yes, we have an app, both iOS and Android, and we have a lot of downloads. And I think most of the activity happens on our apps, and we see a lot of take up on the app. New customers have entered. People who never used us even as a website are using us on the mobile app. So we're pretty excited, and we're very happy that we were one of the first to come up with the apps for a travel company. Yes.
This is getting even more exciting segment to segment. Stay tuned. We'll be back with a short commercial break. Welcome back. You're watching the Game Changers on our television. Today, Abishek, when we look at the corporate world, the corporate culture is the key. I believe that it's a key to drive a company towards success, because if the employees are happy, it definitely happens. So what kind of culture that you have created within FindMyFair.com? Is it the usual culture?
So we started as a very small startup back in 2010, and today we have grown into 120 people. That's a pretty large team, but we've continued to keep our culture that was there when we were a startup. At the same time, we have brought in for any large organizations kind of procedures and the processes and all that, but still we continue to keep our young, and we keep a very flat structure, but we have a very young team. I believe that brings in the energy, and so average age of the company is still about 25. So that's a very young team that we have, and we believe that they as leaders in the future would drive the business. So company culture is very important. I think if you are to succeed and differentiate yourself as a product, I think you should be different as a culture as well. That will define what your business is. So yeah.
So when we talk about culture, like Sri Lanka, when you launched this back then in 2010, that's where Facebook just entered the Sri Lankan market. So, how did that affect you?
As in, that was a good thing for us because there was a lot of social media interaction going on at that time. So if one person enjoyed a good service somewhere, whether it's online or offline, so they made sure they let their friends know. So that gave us that extra customer without any extra money that we spend to acquire the customer. So social media has been one of our biggest drivers because people do express themselves on social media, and so it becomes viral on social media. So yes, we drove on that as well, because as people started using social media, they were using us as well as a commerce, as a business. So then it sort of drove us along with that wave. So it's pretty good for us in terms of social
So,
media.
what are the future investments that you
So
see?
we today want to still scale and become much larger than what we are today, and we are going for we're still growing at about 100% a year. We'd like to keep that going, and I think we still are in the very early stages of the e-commerce story. I think we're probably just a baby, and there's a long way to go. So we would like to keep the growth momentum that's going on, and do the chat. That also poses the biggest challenge, which is the market is changing so fast that we need to keep ourselves, in terms of customer demands, and then customer knows the other brands that exist around the world, so they expect the same kind of service from you. So that makes you lift yourself up and match the services the other international competitors give. So there are challenges, but I see there's a huge growth potential that all of us could tap into to grow our business.
Like you said, research was your main thing to start up your business. So your advice to young entrepreneurs who are watching this, like the stages to become entrepreneur. A lot of people today, Abhishek, they start a business. Let's say they open up a Facebook page. They
Sure.
put all
It's
the
easier to
beautiful
start a
cars.
business today because there's not much of a capital required to start a business.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Overnight they start a business,
Yes.
but within a week or two they're down.
As fast as they open, they close much faster. Yeah, as you know, only probably 5% or 10% of the startups succeed around the globe. That numbers don't change. So how I would like to say about a startup is that to keep it simple, I think because I'm a big cricket fan, I like to relate startup to street cricket. If you can play street cricket, I think you could do a startup. So say, for example, to play street cricket, you need to come to the street first and then get your teams that are there right next to you in front of your house, your neighbors. So don't look for qualified people when you do a startup because they're very expensive. So look out for your friend, who back in the days were good in numbers, who was better than you in something. So find that guy. So I started this business with one of my friends. So, so I found what I could. So I get in and just sort of ask them, so what are you good at? What am I good at? So divide the work between them and always play where you're good at. That is in your street, because you define the rules in your street. So if you do a startup in where you're good at and where your strengths are, the chances of you succeeding is very high. So we see in your street, you have to be the best player, right? Because you know the street much better than anybody else. So it's better you do your startup in something that you understand rather go into something that you're not pretty sure about. And sort of, if you're not good, then you can do your research to find out. But it's always important to define your market yourself, and the rules are defined by you so that you can play it the way you want to play it. And the other thing is, if you're passionate about things, you are going to keep on going even though you face a lot of failures. If you're not passionate, the first failure that you face, you're going to close the you're just going to close it and do something else. So that's why I say that being passionate is one of the key attributes of being an entrepreneur. So I would drive that as a message, saying that people should be passionate about what they're doing. So.
Why do you think why do you think are the reasons for these for these startups to close down very fast? Not like being passionate is why they start. They think that they are good at it.
Yes.
But what do you think, in your aspect, in your point of view? What do you think that the main reason is?
So I think every startup starts. No idea is fully formed when they're started. Neither Facebook, nor anybody else, nor Find My Friend, nothing. We all start off as something and end up being something else. I think that's why startups succeed. If you start as something, but you got to find your own way around based on what you feel and what happens on a day-to-day basis. So then, if you sort of take a turn in your business, I think you would survive. because you think that this is what you require and you start something, but you keep on sticking to it, you may not succeed. You got to always, twist and turn your idea a little bit, and then you might become something else. So I think the reason why startups fail is sometimes they're pretty, they don't want to change even after the market data or the scenario changes. So I think if they get more flexible, I think the survival of a startup would be much longer. Yes.
So, like we were talking about findmyfair.com and how it came to where it is today. So a lot of young entrepreneurs look at this program. Like in terms of finance, how did you find
Yes.
your capital?
See, Sri Lanka doesn't, as a country also, we are looking to attract a lot of foreign direct investment, but we are not at that level in terms of the other countries in the region. So what financing is always going to be a big challenge, whether you're in Colombo or whether you're in New York or whether you're in Lahore, it doesn't make a difference. Financing is always going to be a big challenge. But just because you found the funding doesn't mean that you're going to succeed, but it's one of the key attributes. So you need to find the finance, otherwise you're not going to be able to scale, because you always start up with what you have. But to scale to to 100,000 customers or 200,000 customers, you need to know when to raise your funding round to keep your business growing continuously. So it is something that you will get there, but it's very challenging. It's very difficult currently in our country as well, because we don't have a lot of foreign investment. We continue to look for investment locally. So whereas the local businesses have not involved in e-commerce previously, so they're not able to do your valuations based on futuristic earnings. Then it's because it has not been done before.
We see a lot of startup fundings in Sri Lanka. Like, do you think those are up to the expected level?
See, they're good that they're there, because see, that gives someone an opportunity right in the start to do what, say, some idea becomes a product, right? So that's pretty cool. So I think what these guys are doing in terms of, see, they as angel investors, they're not committing a lot of amount of money, because that's not what they're there to do. They're there to take your idea to a product stage. So using a product, you could raise your Series A. So you need to look at who they are and expect what they can offer. If you expect what from an angel, what a Series A funding company would do, then you're going to get disappointed. So you need to know what they're there for. But they're doing a great job, to be very honest, because it gives a platform for youngsters today to showcase what they have. So it brings out a lot of ideas out to the market, but they have to understand that that's not enough to scale business. Yes.
You as an entrepreneur, like there are plenty of people out there who have their unique ideas, but as I said, finding the finance is like what they lack. In terms of the government or big players in the market, big companies, what do they really have to do to bring them up?
See, I think we exist as a country. I think we have a lot of opportunities, and we do live in a very, I don't think it's that difficult to do business in Sri Lanka. There are certain difficulties. I mean, if you go through, we don't rank very high in terms of, but then there are restrictions and difficulty in starting something here. There is the opportunity. That's why there is so much more opportunity. So I think Sri Lankans have to exploit the situation that we have right now, which means because of the restrictions, you're not having a lot of foreign entrants. So that gives you an opportunity to start your own business and gain market share before any of the foreign entrants come in. So you got to use our country's situation to your advantage, is what I feel.
What are the business opportunities that you see people can look at?
Yeah, especially, I think there's a huge opportunity in the service sector in terms of IT services that could be exported from here. So I think any kind of back-end software development would be a good opportunity right now in Sri Lanka, and I think people should take up a lot of, there's so much of talent, especially like University of Maratua, and so the kind of graduates that they give out, they're no less to any MIT or Stanford graduates. So I think we need to make use of them and sort of create a lot of back-end world-class software that could be exported from Sri Lanka. I see that could bring in the most needed, foreign exchange that we need. So I think there's a huge opportunity there, and we should exploit that right now. If not, you're going to miss the bus, because, they don't come very often. So that there is a huge demand for software development. So I think most of us should look at software development of some kind, especially on the mobile field as well. I see a lot of opportunities there.
In terms of social media marketing, what are the opportunities? How could young entrepreneurs use it the right way?
See, for example, I think you got to use a lean approach towards starting a business. So you get from an idea to a product, then demo your product, and then try and get customers to use it, and then you make them the guys who give you the feedback to do the changes to your product. So if you're a lean organization, you could survive much longer. That gives you that extra bit of time to raise that first round of funding. So I would say on young people who are starting up to not go and look for funding at the right beginning unless they sort of perfect their product first. So it's always important to get a nice product out so that the product itself will attract the funding that it requires. You don't have to go and pitch. It'll attract the funding. So I think that we need to spend a lot more time in developing a fantastic product than looking for funding all the time, I think.
In terms of business, customer satisfaction is key, and we all know that the customer is king. So how does Find My Fare look at customers and your message through that to the young entrepreneurs?
So we continuously listen to our customers and finding, I think no business is perfect. So you got to continuously develop your products by getting feedback from the customers. So, and the best way to solve customer problems are using using technology, as we are a technology company predominantly. So we would like to create new technology that solves the new requirements that customers can have. For example, we have introduced a new service on our website where you could build your own itineraries.
Let's talk about it.
Yes. So basically, on Find My Fare, what you can currently do is pick your flight and your hotels and the activities that you would like to do.
So that's all inclusive.
Yes. So
package.
one-stop travel shop. So you don't have to call anybody to, you can buy your ticket, you can buy your airport transfers, you can buy activities that you would like to do in other countries. So we continuously work on new products like that makes customer life easier.
Comes in mind. Prices.
Sure.
Is it like pretty much expensive than you going there to a hotel and?
No, because it can't be, because if you're going to use the website or the mobile app to make your purchases, you remove all the extra overheads that comes with running a customer service unit for it separately and all that. So the prices online are always going to be cheaper. So I think new technology solving the problem of the customer, I think price is not the significant factor there. People are looking for new technologies to solve their travel requirement problems. As you know, that customers traveling today have new kind of problems, not the old set of problems that they have. So it takes a lot of planning. So if you could make it easy for them using technology, I think they would continuously come back. So that's what we believe in new product development, a lot of innovation that's happening. And all our products are developed by us. We don't outsource any of our software products that we have developed. So it all in-house built. So we are a technology company more than a travel company.
Apart from that, what are the new ventures, new options that your customers can enjoy?
So we have launched a new portal called makeyourtrip.com that allows you to build your own itineraries that I was just talking about. That I think that is first of its kind in the country. So it has helped a lot of, even today, I think that's one of the new products that we have launched. So it helps people to build their own itineraries and then buy everything at once. So that solves their problem in one page. So
Abishek, today we see a lot of startups sticking into the traditional business. So your point of view in those businesses, and what do you think they actually should do?
See, to be very honest, the trend that we see right now, as you said, we're moving towards mobile, and it's becoming really difficult to commute in the cities and find parking and all that. So if you're looking for a brick and mortar business, I think that business is going to take a hit in the next 5 years. So any brick and mortar right now, who is right now in the business or looking to start, is always important to introduce some kind of technology into some parts of their business, so that it also allows that new age customers to come and visit them and use their product. So it's important that they believe in technology. I think that's the future.
To digital marketing, to traditional business, what is your advice in general to all the entrepreneurs out there?
I think we are right now in one of the most exciting times for Sri Lanka, especially in the technology side of things. So I believe that with the low barriers to entry in terms of any e-commerce or any kind of technology business has really low barriers to entry. I think people should make use of that opportunity. And after what we have gone through as a country, and the end of conflict has given us a lot of opportunities, I think people should look and exploit those opportunities that are there. And we have a very literate population, so that you don't have the issues that other countries like India and all that have. So you can build businesses in the technology field which are more cost effective. Even for large businesses today, if they don't move online today as at least some parts of their business, I think they would be facing new competition from the new entrants from the technology side. And in terms of marketing also, it's a cheaper option to look at digital marketing than in terms of offline marketing. So it's a combination. You can't be 100% digital marketing. So I believe that people should look to some kind of new technology to be infused in their businesses. Otherwise, they would find it really difficult to exist with all the new tech companies that are going to come, and they are going to come.
As a co-founder, director of findmyfair.com, where do you see findmyfair.com in 10 years?
So we see us as today we are one of the largest in Sri Lanka, so we would like to go global. I think in 10 years we would like to be in at least 5 countries or more, much more. So we are looking to expand into countries where most Sri Lankan expats are living. So we would be expanding into those countries. So we see ourselves in multiple countries and offering more
countries
services.
like?
So we are right now testing a few countries, and at the moment we have launched our website in Australia, targeting Sri Lankans who live in Australia. So that's a new market that we're pretty excited about. And the best part about a technology company is that it didn't cost much to expand into Australia. So then, we're making use of the technology that's available. So we will be continuing the success that we have in the coming years into other countries as well. So we think that Find My Fair would be a global company. Right now we're just serving Sri Lankan customers, only Sri Lankan customers. We would be looking to serve international customers as well. And we also see ourselves as an inbound company as well, bringing in a lot of tourists from other countries, using those websites that we launch in other countries. So we would like to be one of the biggest inbound players in the country as well.
We wish all the very
Thank you
best,
so much.
Abishek, to findmyfair.com, and
Thank
it
you.
was an absolute pleasure to have you on the Game Changers.
Sure.
Thank you very much for sparing a valuable time here with us.
Yeah, thank you too, Arv. And from Find My Fair and the team, we wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't be here today if not for my team, who are working hard continuously to make sure that our customers are happy. So from everybody at Find My Fair, I'd like to thank our TV and Game Changers for inviting me here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's Abishek Sithampalam, the director, co-founder of findmyfair.com, our today's game changer. Stay tuned. Till next week, we'll be back with another intense, exciting episode on the Game Changers. Till then, goodbye.